Um, about the same time, Tiffany and I had been a part of a Sunday school group that Roger had been teaching, and he had been filling in for somebody else. And we found out that he was thinking about starting a church. And so right away, Tiffany and I were excited because we had heard Roger talk and we had heard him teach, and we really enjoyed listening to him. And so we called Roger and Jen and set up a meeting at McDonald's. And if any of you have ever met with Roger, that's probably one of his favorite places to go. I don't know why. But we met him at McDonald's, and right away it was apparent that Roger's vision and our vision for a church in this area were pretty much in line with each other. And you know, the only answer for that is that God was really involved in this process. And they were ready to go, and so were we, but 4 people doesn't really make a very big church. So we told them that we would go back to our Bible study and let those people know that Roger was interested in doing this. And we ended up setting up a meeting with anybody who was interested with Roger and with our Bible study group. And so we got there, and right away it was pretty obvious that most everybody was pretty skeptical about this. You know, it's one thing to talk about starting a church, and it's another thing to actually go do it. And so they had questions for Roger that I'd never heard him ask before, like, you know, about theology and where he was in life. And at the end, Roger suggested that we start a Bible study and see what happened from that point. And so we started what's now the Biblical Foundations class. We went through that with Roger, and after a couple months, we decided that we needed to do more than just talk about this church.
The Biblical Foundations class went so well that we said, let's keep doing this. So we started meeting every Sunday, and probably about a month after we started with the services, we actually became known as Journey Church officially. During the time, it was a fun time. You never knew if you were going to need your suntan lotion and your sunglasses out on Roger's porch, or if you were going to have to bring some rocks to hold down all your papers, or if you were going to have to wear your hat and gloves and participate in a slushy communion. But it was always a good time. But at that point, that made us realize if we don't find a building by the first snowfall, we're in major trouble. The God's plan isn't going to work. So we started looking, and we looked, and we looked, and we looked. We looked all over Idaho Falls. Everything that met the requirements for the church we couldn't afford, and everything that we could afford wasn't going to work. So we didn't know what to do. So we were in prayer a lot, asking God to find a building for us. So one day, Roger and Jennifer came to all of us and said, hey, there's this building down in Shelley we want everybody to look at. The Catholic Church owns it, and we think we should really consider it. And, you know, everybody was like, oh, no, Shelley, because we were all from Idaho Falls. It's like, we don't want to drive all the way down to Shelley every Sunday, and very, very selfish. We also said, you know, Shelley, what a difficult ministry. You know, if we're going to start a church, how in the world are we going to start a church in Shelley? That's never going to work. But God definitely had different plans. He brought us here, like you all know, and this has been a blessing to us and in everybody. James 4:3 says, when you ask, you do not receive, because you ask with wrong motives, that you may spend what you get on your own pleasures. So that's what we were doing. We didn't have God's will in mind. We wanted what we wanted. We all had a vision, and it wasn't God's vision. And anytime you do that, God will let you know what he wants you to do.